Yes. Okay. So, tell me a little bit about your background in design and if you have any specific questions you want me to address.
Sure. So I found human design in 2020. Professionally, I am a licensed physical therapist, and it was challenging to find work after March of 2020 in the orthopedic outpatient setting. So I wasn't working, and I was looking to get out of that traditional clinical setting anyway. And human design found me, and I loved it. I kind of went down the mental rabbit hole at first, and then luckily I was able to work on just jumping into the experiment and more embodying it. And it's really become the lens and language of my life. I loved finding your work because I do find quantum human design to be very mental, and it did feel like there was more to it. I had been exposed to somebody else who was using postnatal astrology charts to kind of make other charts like you had, and I found that to be a very interesting concept. So, yeah, I'm just very drawn to your work.
And where do you live?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Ah, so same time zone as me.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's get started. If I tend to work intuitively, and if you have questions, it's a conversation.
Great.
And this is a YouTube reading, as you know, so it
Mhm.
will be public. And if there's anything you want me to stay away from, just say so.
Nope, go for it. I,
Okay.
I I trust the intuitive process.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And these are charts done on my program, which is available on the Apple App Store. So let me share this screen, which is what I call the mandala of synthesis. It's the first image that I ever saw when I came across human design. And it, sorry about that, my dog.
That's why.
Sam, quiet. So the mandala of synthesis and its center is a body graph that has sacred geometry. And I use this body graph that was actually given to Ra, and the voice spent 5 days making sure he had the exact measurements of this body graph. Um, so I use it. It does correlate with the tree of life, and especially in the lower centers. As you get up beyond the self center, there isn't a one-on-one correspondence. But I will tell you what it shows as we go. And I show you this because, as you know, the human design and noble energy maps use the astrological calculation to correlate it with a hexagram and line of the I Ching. So in your case, you started in the prenatal 12th hexagram in Gemini. By the time you were born, it had moved to Virgo. And then 3 months after birth, the sun had moved to the 26th hexagram. That's half the wheel. The earth is moving the opposite way. So by the time a baby is 3 months old, by the time you were 3 months old, you had everything in your energy field that you needed to be manifesting your actual potential. So every person is whole. And we all, when we're born, have and live in four worlds, according to the tree of life, according to theories of self-actualization. And as you know, by training, I'm a social scientist and psychologist. So, and I was trained as a Jungian analyst. So I was very familiar with Jung's ideas of four types, four worlds, all based on the tree of life. So when Ra gave me the information, he gave me what he called the dream design, which is a 15-gate matrix turned on its side because when we sleep, we're horizontal. All he had been told was that when we sleep, we move into a mammalian matrix with 15 gates. And I do it as a 64 gate in this view because when we're born, we have everything we need. And when we sleep and dream, there is evidence in brain scans that there's carryover from the cortex of the dreaming brain to the cortex of the waking brain. And that's why we remember partial dreams. So I use it because each matrix is a different matrix, and I did put them at the end of the document for you. So you'll see that the mental world and the physical world have the solar plexus, but the spiritual and the emotional angelic do not. So I will explain what all that means, but I want you to understand that we live in four worlds. They are different matrices. And what I did with the dream design after Ra and I began teaching it, and I did the first dream design class in November of 1999. But what you'll see is that the four worlds, mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental, form the figure 8, the infinity sign. And when you do something like Tai Chi Gong, or even in models of communication, the four worlds are very important. So when I was given just the dream design, and I had at the time 7 kittens who were homegrown. So I had their exact to the second birth data. And I knew that the dream design of a human could not be the sleep design of a mammal because they also dream. So I wanted to get that calculation, and I did using the lunar minute. And then I noticed that these times correspond with critical periods in early human development. So that was mind-boggling to me. And it does track to critical periods. So these charts that I'm using are scientifically based. The composites are what's so interesting. So in your design, whereas in human design, you would have been told that you were a generator, split definition generator, correct?
Correct.
In your composite, you are a single definition manifesting generator.
Wow.
And what's especially interesting in your chart is that the solar plexus is connected with the 59-6, which is a portal bridge between worlds. you have the 12th gate, you have the 5027, you have the 15-5. So you have a lot of integration between the worlds. So it's no wonder that you knew there was more to human design than met the eye in the single waking chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at what turns on and what turns off, how the energies activate in you and what that might mean. So in your human design chart, what's very important to pay attention to is that you do have the 59-6. The 6 is the sun in your personality. So your birth personality is the 6. And your north node is also the 6. Now, the 59 is Mars. Of course, it's also in Virgo. And your north and south node are 46 and 25. The north node and the south node shift to being 6, gate 6 and 36. So I'm already seeing that part of your life purpose here is to use your skills to help people clear emotional energy that's stuck and that they may be holding on to for the experiences it gives them. You are in all but the postnatal, where you get the 5710. But other than that, in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of your 8 designs, you are a reflector, meaning that you're like a sponge picking up energy in your body. So if you're a physical therapist, when somebody comes to see you and they have a shoulder ache, let's say, you feel it, you know it, and you know what to do with it. What's interesting is that Pluto in Libra in the 57th hexagram is in every chart except for the prenatal, where the Pluto was in the 48th hexagram. So that's telling me two things. One, your intuition is really strong. And because Neptune is in the 5th hexagram, and the 15 is Mercury, I would guess that you don't always know clearly when to take action and when to hold back. And that can get you into a little bit of burnout. Because you are such an empath. And you're so open. One of the keys for you is your breathing. Why do I say that? You have the 12th hexagram in your natal chart, hooking up your ajna and then hooking up to the crown. And then ultimately, you do get so you have the 12 and it hooks up. And in the postnatal lunar chart, you get the 45 with the moon. So, number one, you should wait at least a week before you make a decision. Do not make decisions lightly. Even though you're defined as a generator, you're not really a generator. You're a manifesting generator, and you must pay attention to the energy around you, especially with respect to breathing. Because if you notice, now, let me take you back to the four matrices. Solar plexus is only mental and physical. That means that for you, the first order of business on a physical level for you, giving you the signal, is this me or is it somebody else, is going to be whether or not your breathing shifts. So if your breathing goes from relaxed and you know what you know because you know it because you're in your body, and then suddenly you begin to feel anxiety or you begin to notice that your breathing gets tight, it's not yours. You're looking for what you need to do or say to be a help agent because you're picking something up either psychically about the immune system of the person in front of you, or you're feeling it in your body. Is what I'm saying resonating with you, Michelle?
Oh, very much so.
Um, what's interesting is in your total integrated prenatal vehicle. See, this is natal integrated. It's the critical prenatal 88-degree 3-month. So this first composite is these four prenatal charts.
Oh, okay.
The second composite is the postnatal four. And then the total integrated is all of them, all 8.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what's really interesting in your design is that at birth, you were actually a manifesting generator,
Hmm.
not a split definition generator. And based on this chart, you're here to help people transform their emotional energy. And I would think as a physical therapist, a lot of what you have to do is reassure people that they're going to come out of whatever it is they're in because they're fearful emotionally, that this is a condition they're going to have and they're going to be stuck not being fully functional. And you have to come up with a story that reassures them about their health. Did I get that right?
When I was practicing, yes, I actually have stepped out of practicing because I found that there was so much emotion associated with physical pain. I can't just focus on the physical body anymore. And in the traditional insurance-based practice in the United States that I was working in, I wasn't given that ability to do that. So yeah, this all makes a lot of sense.
Um, so here's the sort of um, path, I think, that your charts are showing. And this 57-10-34 is, when I see that, the 34-10 is somebody who marches to their own drum.
Hmm.
And with you, it's a little bit tricky because of the open splenic center that doesn't get activated with the 10 until 3 months after you were born. So I wouldn't be surprised if as a baby, as an infant, you were very laid back and very calm and a very easy baby until you were 3 months old. And then when you began to make choices about what was right for you, um, you surprised everybody because you suddenly were making your needs known in a way that they didn't anticipate. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
Um, but the issue for you, as I see it from these 8 charts, is that you pick up in your body what other people feel. You channel and know things that haven't been told. And you are looking as a healer. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about you as a healer now. What you're doing is you're looking for where they got stuck in misidentifying emotional energy. So in the Tree of Life, which I've been teaching in my Four Worlds class to human design practitioners, the 27th path the 32nd path takes us from the sacral center to the root and basically says that we are light bodies living in physical form. And we need to make our physical form responsive to spirit. So the whole evolution of consciousness is about our spiritual core. And in my view, psychology has focused on the mental waking world, misleading people away from who they really are, which is a spiritual being. And all we really want is to connect spiritually with other people. So for you, I'm looking at the crown and the ajna, and I'm seeing that pretty quickly in your prenatal spiritual, you got the 64, 47, and the 24. So you're going to be puzzling over where did this come from in somebody? Why is it this way in this person? And when you ask that question, more often than not, you get a download. And then you have to decide whether to tell them or not. Because it's not always something, when you're dealing with the emotion of somebody else, it's not always something that they want to hear. So you're always in that dilemma of where do you put yourself? When do you say it? How do you say it? And should you say it? Um, the Chiron in the 24 is so interesting. The 24th hexagram, you want to see it, is in Taurus. And if you look at the hexagram, look how interesting it is. It's all yin except for the first line.
Mm.
So I learned about the 6124 when I had a client, an actress, well-known actress, who kept going back to a review that had been done when she was on Broadway that ruined her career on Broadway. And she kept going back to it. And I was seeing her like 20, 25 years after the incident on Broadway. She was already a well-known celebrity. And yet that review kept haunting her. And she had the 6124. And the 24 is labeled return. So when you are dealing with someone with the emotional reactivity that you are capable of transforming for another person, you're going to be looking for where they got stuck in their thinking and what they keep returning to work through in order to release what's holding them.
Yeah.
So there's a training by Gupta, Gupta,
Mhm.
that's very interesting in releasing old emotional patterns. It may be something that would be helpful for you to know about because obviously you're thinking of being a coach and doing some counseling. And what you're going to end up doing is helping people clear emotional energy for two reasons. One is either they're really emotionally stuck, and the other is it's affecting their immune system. I say that because I see you're tuned in. So when we look at the composite, you have one, two, three, four, five, 6 out of 8 gates activating the splenic center in composite, whereas you're a complete empath in your prenatal. So that's a challenge for you, Michelle, because you know a lot more than you would seem to know. And what you really have to answer for yourself is the timing, which is tricky for you, and whether or not it's right for you to do anything. The 4629, which is where does it, I'm looking at the wrong chart. That's why I'm not seeing it. The 46 is your north node. And the 29 is Saturn. It's all red. And you get your sun in 46. Before you make a commitment to help somebody, Michelle, sleep on it. Take it in and wait about a week before you commit. And during that time, there's some key questions about the direction of yourself. 214 is the direction of the self, but 4629 is the question, is this something I can commit to? And is it right for me? Is it right for your body? And $45.21. Here's the 21. Moon, and Earth. So you're going to have it already here. The moon, the Earth, and the moon. So between 2 days of birth and 7 days of birth, you got that 4521. That's breathing. In the body map, the only channel that goes from the throat, the airways, directly to the heart muscle itself is the 4521. So you're going to be making a spiritual choice about whether or not you can help somebody. And you need to wait to know at least a week. So if you know because you know right away, I'm not going to say to you, don't make that decision because we're bigger than a chart. But if you have the least bit of question mark, then you wait a week and do you know astrology?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. So I did your chart, your astrology chart. This is your natal chart.
Mhm.
Um, well, what's so interesting in your astrology is look at how everything is in 8, 9, 10 for the most part. And then we have the interesting, you're a full moon baby.
Lunar eclipse too,
So the moon is really important for you.
very much so.
Do you know which Saros cycle it was? Do you know issue of the eclipse you were born under?
I don't know that phrase. I just know that I'm almost to the degree an exact full moon lunar eclipse.
Yeah, let me go look. Hold on. You were born September 78. I'm looking up. Um, so it's a lunar eclipse, so maybe it in Pisces. '78, '99. Hmm, 103 Um, solar lunar, 1998, 1978, 8. Um, I don't want to take more time. I can't exactly find it. Um, well, you want to look up what the Saros cycle was for that eclipse? Maybe we
Okay.
find it on, let me look right now, see if I can find it quickly. A subtle eclipse. Uh, I don't think this is right. Oh, here it is. The eclipse in September was very subtle. Supports inner reflection, a time for gestational transformation, not fully visible on the surface. It relates to movements within the sacral center and transitions toward the self center, especially regarding integrating unseen patterns or spiritual maturation. Wow, that is right on. Each Saros cycle carries an evolving karmic tone, repeated but maturing with each return. The cycles reflect patterns of truths across layers. So you want to let's see what else it says. Okay, I'm going to close this window. Well, let's see what it says. Enhancement of sensitivity, artistic inspiration, spiritual attunement. Very interesting. So and what's so interesting here, Michelle, is that in the third house, where your moon south node conjunction is, that's your early conditioning. So I mean, I don't know anything about your background, but with the strong 4 planets in Virgo on the in the ninth house and the ninth house cusp, you have really strong values and standards, and you don't like those messed with at all. And if it doesn't have a certain level of integrity and depth, you don't want any part of it. Did I get
Exactly.
that?
You nailed that.
And Chiron on the 5th house cusp, very interesting. Not everybody's going to understand what you're talking about all the time, because you have a level of depth and understanding that a lot of people don't get. This is your progressed chart. I always like to do the astrology, and in my classes, I often will do the tri-wheel for the solar and the lunar as well. But this is your progressed chart. So this was done for today. Well, your progressed sun is saying, well, look at that stellium, progressed stellium in Scorpio. This is an intense time for you.
Feels that way.
And are you thinking of doing some work with groups?
Yes.
Now would be the time. I think the timing is about 2 to 3 months away for you doing that. I think they'd be good. The progressed ascendant is right in your second house. You have Pluto transiting the second house. So that would probably be a transformation in resources looking good. It's looking good. Um, there may be some early patterns holding you back. So if that's the case, I would work on clearing them.
Okay.
I say that because of the transits on the third house. Where's your progressed moon is here. And the other progressed, yeah. Yeah, working with groups is going to be really good for you. Now, what do you have to do when you're working with groups? What are you thinking of doing with the groups?
So it's interesting because I have started to work with groups, and it's just in its rough stages right now. And honestly, it is very intuitive. I have such a strong level of knowledge kind of across both the physical and the mental plane. Um, it's really what gets called out. Um, but what has been percolating in the back of my mind is that breath that you keep coming back to. So with my physical therapy background and interest pattern and education and ability to understand that, I've been working on cranial nerve resets to facilitate breathing. So it's not your traditional breath work that you think about. It's a different lens of it, because my belief is you have to set the autonomic system up successfully. You can't mentally breathe your way when your patterns are on the,
Right,
unconscious.
they're going to trip you up.
Yeah. So working with that. And then also there's a particular movement program called Postural Restoration Institute, and they talk about how the body is actually asymmetrical. You know, we all on the outside think we got two arms, two legs, everything, but the internal organs are asymmetrical, and we can get really twisted within our fascia internally. So I'm feeling after this that I should probably take that foundational course that I haven't been taking and working with those, blend those two modalities.
You know also about the melt technique that works
I
on fascia?
I have heard of that. Yep. I haven't looked into that, but I have heard.
Marvin and I have studied that as well as the Go Clay method.
Okay.
Um, so, but what I think you're on the right track based on your design, and
Yeah.
especially with the breathing and the focus is transforming the immune stuck energy that came from mislabeling or misrepresenting or just stress that closed it off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so when you tune in, you also can psychically get the person's story.
Mhm.
And those pieces, um, I know in my own clinical work as a psychologist, um, when a lot of my psychic ability came in, I would know things about my clients that they had never told me. And so when I'd say that to them, they would sort of, some of them would get white, some of them would just, their mouth would go open. Um, but it was very validating to run things by my clients because they would tell me if I was right or not. And it allowed me to hone my skills.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're going to be doing some of that same stuff.
Okay.
It's
Good to know.
exciting. What you're
Yeah.
doing is exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very cool. I think where I struggle the most is just because it is so intuitive, it's hard to logically explain that. It's the sense that I get. So sometimes
Well, but you do, I mean, if we look at your charts again, you are intuitive, but you're also feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also, I think, seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So as that comes in, well, begin playing, I think, Michelle, with the questions you're asking. I think when you trust your knowing and stop asking what you know, then the struggle will be gone.
Okay.
So try that,
Okay. Thank you.
because you're a little bit too hard on yourself
Yes.
because of all the Virgo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Uh, and you want to get it exactly right. You don't need to get it exactly right. You only need to open the door for your client.
Mm. Well said.
Once you open the door, they'll give you the feedback you need to make sure you get it right. So that little turn,
Yeah.
and where you're going to feel it is in your body.
Okay.
So use your own animal instinct, because you're going to be reading it through the 515.
Yes. I also just want my practice to be outdoors. Like I'm so drawn to nature. Um, so
So do
that's really
some groups outdoors.
mhm. I've been able to do that. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Or one of the things I used to do when I was doing my group therapy was I never planned anything. But once I'd have 30 or 40 people, I would know what to do with them. And sometimes I'd send a group out in nature, and the other one I would keep in the house and we'd cook or we'd do something else. And then I'd mix it up. So you can begin to use your experiences with nature to be
Hmm.
creative within the groups and do little tests with different people to see how they shift based on what you're playing with.
Yeah,
You want to
that's
have
cool.
some fun.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, don't make it too serious.
Nope, not
Serious
at all.
doesn't work for you.
No, it doesn't.
Any other questions?
No, this was really great. Very validating, and I definitely appreciate your time and being able to do this with you.
It's my pleasure to do. And if it's been helpful, um, like the video when it's online. And also, if you want to write anything about the reading as a testimonial, I always appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. We'll do that. That's great.
And I am doing a podcast on Fridays at 12:30 with Sean.
Okay.
And also, I'll be offering more classes. And my Thursday class it's currently free, but it'll turn into a membership for $7 a month.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Yeah. Take care.
Amazing.
Stay in
Thank
touch.
you. Yes. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
You
Bye
too.
now.
Bye.